Thank you, mabuhay. Happy birthday. Happy 125. It's amazing to be here. You know, when I read the lyrics of the national anthem of the Philippines, Lupang Hinirang, and Chosen Land, and I want you to know that I studied as many of the lyrics. I was with RJ, and I told him that I respect the Philippine community so much that I thought the way I would get closer to this event today is by learning how to sing the national anthem. Thank you for letting me sing with you. But the Chosen Land says it all. It talks about culture. It talks about the history. It talks about the warmth of people that are 1 million strong in Canada. The story of the Philippine community coming to Canada, as we learned earlier today, comes back a long time, well over 100 years. I think the first person to come to Canada from the Philippines was around 1860. And we know in 1930, a few came over. But the more that one studies the history of the Philippines, you have to appreciate the warmth of the peoples. And it's something that is personal to me. And I want to say how grateful I am to be here with my colleague, MPP Deepak Anand, the member from Mississauga, Malton. And Deepak, you will know from the communities that you have visited, especially from those who call the Philippines home, how warm and how friendly they are. I met Consul General Escalona just a week ago when I was there with members from the consulate here in Toronto, and to meet you, Paul, from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and you're here in Toronto. It was wonderful to meet your son. We were there when the flag went up at Earl Bales Park, right in my own riding in York Centre. And I can tell you, it is not lost on the people of Toronto that the story of people that came from the Philippines represents a story that is incredibly special. Some came over to work as personal support workers, as PSWs. And along the way, they became adopted into so many families, especially in our city. I was lucky to meet so many people that helped take care of me and my grandparents when I was younger. I saw their warmth. And then many people came from the Philippines and became doctors and nurses and lawyers and accountants and business people. They became entrepreneurs. They became scientists. They became professors. And in every occupation in our province, there is somebody that has come from the Philippines who has led us by example. And we're grateful for the ingenuity and the care and concern. Just last week, I was at the Humber Meadows Long-Term Care Home, which is just on the outskirts past my riding of York Centre. I was there because the day that we cut the ribbon with Premier Ford, there was a wonderful group of Philippine support workers there who lived in my riding, and I know exactly where they were from. And I said, on your first day of work, I want to come back. I want to say thank you. Thank you for caring for our community. Ontario is a loving and caring province. It's something that we're very, very proud of. And although Canada is a little bit older, our day when we became a country was 1867, so it makes us a little bit older. But the Philippine Independence Day is something that was important, and I'll tell you why. Because last year, right after, I was honored to be elected by my community of York Centre to be their representative in Queen's Park and to sit alongside Deepak Anand. I came to Queen's Park, and the very first event I went to was the flag raising for the Philippine Independence Day last year. It was last year. It was right after I got elected to be MPP. I met people from my community that were warm and welcoming. And that day, I said, no matter what, whatever I can do as a local MPP, I will be there for that community 100%. And what I did is I walked the streets of Bathurst and Wilson. If some of you know that area, which I like to call Little Manila, And even if the city of Toronto won't put up that sign, I don't care. For me, it's Little Manila. And I'm proud of that. And I've had the privilege of opening up businesses there and cutting ribbons. I just did one a week ago. But you see the power of a community that's loving, that's warm, that brings their culture and their friendliness. When you come to Taste of Manila, which we're going to have in August, and the other festivals that we have in our riding, you'll see hundreds of thousands of people come to Bathurst Street and Wilson to see something that we know and that we love. And that's the Philippine community. And when we see the businesses succeed, Ontario succeeds. When we see people coming from the Philippines and going to school in Toronto, like your son, Undersecretary, we succeed. When we hear stories that change people's lives of a PSW, unsung hero, that helped care for a person to give them that extra years in their life, Ontario succeeds. And when we see people from the Philippine community become police officers and firefighters and nurses and doctors and 911 call operators, we succeed. It's a tremendous community, and it is a great honor to represent Premier Ford and our government, and together with my great friend Deepak Anand. And we'll leave you with this message that's absolutely ironclad. Wherever you go as a community, we will always be there for you. It's a great honor to be here, and I really thank you. Deepak, come on up here. Yeah, you have to know that my colleague here, who sits very close to me in the legislature, is one of the most positive, happiest person you could ever meet. He is. I've never seen him except smiling, but I know he shares my enthusiasm for everything that your community brings to Ontario. It doesn't matter where we all came from or how we got here. It matters what we do one to another to spread that warmth, to spread that friendship. Deepak, I'd be honored if you would say a few words too.
Good afternoon, and I was actually sharing with Minister that Kalayaan is my second home. I was here yesterday also. But I just want to say one thing. When I came to Canada, my first job was a lab technician, and the person who actually trained me, Rolando, was from Manila. And one thing I noticed, and I noticed with a lot of people from Philippines, they're always very caring. Around the Christmas, you will put together boxes of gifts and send it back to Philippines. And that shows how much not only you love your family here, you're concerned and worried about the family back home. So we are very fortunate that many of you chose to come here. If you love the family that's far away so much, imagine how much you will love who are next to you, including us. So on this day of independence, I just want you to all remind those who sacrificed so that today all of us can have this enjoyment and prosper and flourish. To the descendant of all those who sacrificed, we thank you. We thank each one of you for giving, sharing, and giving away many of your ancestors so that we can have good life. On behalf of our government, my wonderful colleague, an amazing minister, I don't know how he does it, but he's constantly on move and supporting our Ontario. Big round of applause for all of you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Malcolm. Yeah, you're great.
Good buddies?
Thank you very much for the special messages.